How long have you been a Taxi member?
A year and a half.
How many submissions do you think you've done, actual songs you've submitted, even if it's the same song, to more than one listing in that year and a half time frame?
Actually, the first year I can tell you exactly. Submitted 107 songs.
Okay.
And got forwarded on 47.
They got through the screening process and they were good enough quality and appropriate to the listings and all that kind of stuff. Part of it's going to depend, of course, on what your expectations were, but did you think like Taxi hadn't done the job for you, or you weren't going to renew your membership? Where was your thought process at the end of that first year?
Actually, when I initially joined, I signed up for 2 years because I knew that just giving it a 1-year shot probably wasn't going to be fair. Before I joined Taxi, I'd actually researched Taxi for probably about a year or so. I kind of was at a crossroads with my musical career. I wasn't sure, do I want to continue doing something with music? I tried doing the band route for several years and just got tired of trying to do that and was about to give up. One of the reasons I hadn't joined earlier was I wasn't sure, am I good enough? Are my skills at the point where I can do this?
So in addition to the skill thing, it sounds to me like you were at a point in your music career where you were thinking more about writing songs for other people to use rather than for yourself or your band or anything like that.
My first submission was returned. My next 9 were all forwards.
Right, so you were getting pretty confident at this point.
I was pretty confident. I was thinking, man, I've got this made, 9 out of my first 10 songs, all forward. Man, I can do this. This is easy.
Right.
And then the next 2-3 months, just return after return after return, and stuff like that. And the consistent, feedback I got was, your songwriting is good, your music is good, your production's not.
I noticed you didn't use the word rejection at all in describing these returns. So I gather that you don't consider, when you get feedback from Taxi in the screening process and they tell you, this is what we like about what we're hearing in this particular scenario and this is what needs more work, it sounds like rejection isn't in your vocabulary. Is that right?
No, when I first got that, totally. I was very rejected. And, I even posted on the forums. I'm like, why did this get returned? I thought we nailed this listing, And when I listen back to it now, I'm like, why in the world did I think that was right for that listing?
What did you do to respond to the comment then about your instrumentation and your production?
Well, after I got over my little pity party, I'm a very competitive person. So I use this return as motivation. I said, you know what, if it's not good enough, well, then I'm going to make it good enough.
Right.
I'm going to, whatever it takes, because at that point, I had realized, okay, I want to do this. I don't want to be a band, do the band thing anymore. But I would love to be able to have a career working with music and writing music, whether it's film and TV or pitching to artists. So, when I consistently got the feedback of your music is good, but your production, you're just not there yet. I said, all right, I want to take a break from writing. I am going to focus on the production aspect. As I've learned over the last year and a half, I'm competing against big-time studios. I'm competing against other major artists on major labels. They still have money that they're spending on those albums. And if I'm trying to get my songs placed in a film or on a TV show, and they're, like say Grey's Anatomy, who like, those singer-songwriters like The Fray. Reality is, I'm competing against the entire world,
Right.
Anybody who
and
is
every level of quality
every
that it has to offer.
So I ended up doing that and just some DVDs and some books and just immersed myself. And I still have a long ways to go. I know I've got a lot to learn, but I've made I think tremendous progress and really improved my skill set and started to get it. I started to understand it better.
Well, I hear 2 things. You did the job of going out and improving the things you needed to improve, but you also really zeroed in on that listing. In other words, if you've got 50 songs. You don't submit them to 100 listings at a time for every song. You really try to narrow in on the right songs to address. And
that's a learning process. I'm still learning that. I mean, I had nearly 50%. I think it's 45% forward rate last year. So far for 2009, I'm at 25%. And some of it's been just not on target for the listing because I'm still learning. And sometimes you just don't know. It's not a perfect world, and there are going to be some people who they'll say this is what they're wanting, and then you think you're delivering what they want, and then they're like, no, that's not what I'm looking for.
Right. And you don't take that personally,
no,
right?
Not now. I used to, but not everybody is going to be able to deal with that. I just can't do that. Yeah. This is art. Music is art, and if you treat it as anything other than art, you're not being a real musician. You're devaluing music. Well, I look at it from a different perspective. Music is also a commodity. And I would love to be able to, be a full-time musician doing music, and if that means that I'm going to write some songs that not necessarily I'm, attached to, that's fine with me.
Right.
Because I'm still getting to do what I love, and that's working with music.
And in the process, end up getting paid for it.
Exactly. I was at the rally last year, which I highly recommend. I mean, that was just a huge learning experience being there. I learned so much from there. And while I was there, had a chance to meet a lady who is in the industry and gave her a CD. About a month after that, followed up with her to see if she's had a chance to listen to it. She's like, yeah, I liked it. I'm going to add you to my list of composers I send emails out to. So, you can think of these as potential, leads that are outside of taxi. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Eventually, there was one, I was like, I've got stuff that I think I could submit to this. And so I submitted some songs to this listing. I got a contract offer for a non-exclusive deal. It's through an MTV library. And the thing is, all of the songs were songs that I had written for Taxi Listing. And all of them ended up getting deal. I ended up signing 14 tracks with them. And then there was another person that I met through the taxi forums that was like, hey, here's an opportunity you might be interested in. And ended up getting another library deal, another non-exclusive, through the same process.
Right. So I think what I'm hearing is you have multiple avenues. You've got the actual taxi listings, and they're the regular ones, plus the dispatches, which we haven't talked about yet. You've got the taxi road rally and all the people you meet there, and you've also got the people in the taxi forums that you interact with, and all those things have led in one way or another to a deal for you of some kind. You mentioned that you've got this spreadsheet that tells you from a timeline perspective when things are due, and you have to work back from there. It's basically project management.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yep.
And then you've got this calendar as far as your time goes, and when you've got time to devote to the process. I think I heard you mention something about on a given song basis, you've got data on how many times it's been submitted, how many forwards you've gotten, and all that stuff. Is that right?
I have another spreadsheet that keeps up with every time I submit a song, because I'm submitting to multiple different avenues. That way I can keep up and say, all right, this day I submitted these songs, and if they get forwarded, then I'll go back and I'll put them in bold or whatever, and so put the company it was forwarded to, so I can keep up with all that stuff.
Gotcha. Wow, that's a lot of data tracking. But it sounds to me like you treat this like a job.
It is a job.
It's a career.
It is.
And you do the same things that you do in your day job to keep track of all the various aspects of your projects that you're working on there to make money from.
I know there's probably going to be people who are listening to this or watching this, and they're probably thinking, "Oh my gosh, that's so much work." And it is.
You didn't quit when you got your first returns and all of a sudden things weren't getting forwarded anymore. You took the action there to go do your homework and fix whatever needed to be fixed. Here you are a year and a half into it. You're not rolling in millions of dollars or anything like that. So let's say if Taxi wasn't in the picture, where do you think you'd be now compared to where you are if you'd had to do all this on your own?
I don't know if we'd be having this interview, honestly.
Wow.
Because I don't know what I would be. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done because I didn't have any focus.
Right.
I didn't have any direction. That's been one of the best things, from the taxi listing perspective, is it focuses you. Because I can promise you, at least half of the songs, maybe even 75% of those songs, I never would have written on my own.
They literally wouldn't exist.
They would not exist.
Right. So you are in it for the long haul. Is there anything I've left out or not asked you about that you would like to give to taxi membership or potential taxi people at large that is advice from you, having been in it for a year and a half and knowing what you know now?
If you're in it for quick fame or quick money, get out.
Okay.
Don't waste your time.
That's a straightforward answer.
Yeah, because you're going to be disgruntled, you're going to be disappointed, and also if you don't have the ability to take constructive criticism, if you're not patient, it's going to be difficult. Because this is a slow moving process.
So the other lesson I'm hearing is it's not instant gratification, but your songs have potential. Once they're out there and they've gone through Taxi, they're kind of already working for you, even if they haven't been quote used.
Yep.